Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. My name is Tolope Olamiko, and I'm a property manager here in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm doing this broadcast to educate property owners on how to manage their properties by making use of the right property managers for them to achieve their goals and their aims for the best result that you can actually get. So I'm a property manager and for quite some years now have been managing different properties, and I have gained few experiences. I won't say lots of experiences, but I've gained few experiences which I'll be sharing. And I've titled this broadcast on strategy on how to resolve uh, disputes among landlords and tenants without resulting strategy for resolving dispute with tenants without resorting to legal action. Without resorting to legal action, because one thing as a property owner, except you just buy the property and you're living it by yourself, not uh, having any tenants to live with you, but once you have tenants living with you, it's inevitable for you not to have one or two uh, issues that you will deal with tenants. We are created for association. We are not created for isolation. So every one of us, there is bound to be issues. There's bound to be um, rifts between tenants and landlords, and there are so many things that can actually cause uh, issue between the tenants and the landlord. So I'll just be sharing with us some of those things that actually can cause rifts between tenants and strategies on how to undo uh, those those issues. Um, there are different tenants. There are different tenants, characteristics of tenants. There's some tenants that are nice. There are some tenants that will be pleasant. But if you are a property owner or a landlord, um, especially I will use cite some of my example from Lagos, because Lagos is densely populated and there are a whole lot of people that do have properties here in Lagos, Nigeria, and and I bet you that they can tell you that they've been having one issue or the other with their tenants, and more especially stubborn tenants. So stubborn tenants can be related for landlords and property managers, and many of them might actually even cause damage to your property, and some might even fail to pay their rent on time. Uh, some of them might just be unresponsive to requests for maintenance or repairs, and some can just be, how will I put it? I won't say they can just be devils at times. Uh, One of the characteristics of uh, stubborn or um, difficult tenants is that many of them are on their unwillingness to communicate. Their unwillingness to communicate. No matter how much you try, they may ignore your phone calls, your emails, or even when you send them letters from landlord to them, or from the property manager, or from your lawyer. Uh, they might just not respond to letters. They might not respond to your calls. I experience. had some tenants which I wanted to evict. The 6 months elapsed, the 7 days elapsed. We had to drag ourselves to court. And I've had some that they were just stubborn. Later, they're not willing to respond to the letter. They're not picking calls. Even they blocked me on their on their line, which I had to confront them in person. And there's some that we've only been able to resolve our differences by going to police station, calling police on them. So if I had some that defaulted in their rent, even there are still some that I'm still dealing with presently, who uh, just remain stubborn in paying their rent or renewing their rent where they're staying presently. And the owner have been talking to them, have stepped in, and they've been unresponsive. To so um, another trait is of some of these stubborn tenants or wicked tenants is their tendency to be confrontational or defensive when approached about a problem or concern. They may deny responsibility for damages, refuse to cooperate with maybe inspection, or argue about their lease terms. Yes, I've had some tenants that actually uh, started arguing that I know, and thank God that that argument was actually put to rest because I issued them receipts. So this is one of the things I like about the job that I do is that I like to put things in black and white. Or you can be my tenant and I won't issue you receipt. You won't have your tenancy agreement. So that to avoid unnecessary arguments here and there, back and forth. So you need to make sure that you have things written down. Some stubborn tenants or some wicked tenants can also be resistant to follow rules, or regulations. Few weeks back, I had meeting with some tenants within K2, whom I got some reports that despite there is a disagreement that the gates will be locked by 11 of the house, the gates of the house will be locked by 11. Some of them won't call, and they know that they are coming late. We get back maybe around past 12, past 1. Even there is a particular one that it's not that this guy is coming from a long distance. He works within, but he just love to do faji, or that's to enjoy himself. He will go to beer parlor, and being in beer parlor, he will forget that there is the time is running out, and he will sit at beer parlor. And by the time he's standing up, that will be past 12, past 1, and he will be hitting on the gate and making the other tenants to be uncomfortable. So they reported him to me, and I had to confront him. And I told him that when next I get such a report, because that's like a warning report, no next, I'm going to issue him a quick notice for him to look for somewhere else to stay. So you can have such a tenant. There are some other tenants also that some who engage in legal activities within the property or violate noise ordinances. Yes, I've had to expel a tenant to ask the tenant to leave the house as a result of the complaint coming from the landlords that they observed that he was bringing in strange faces or using the compound for illegal business without the consent of the owner of the property. Started bringing in strange faces, and some of them smoking Indian M's, making noises, throwing some parties within the compound. We had to get him out, to evict him out of the building. Although it wasn't easy, I had to bring in the police for them to get him evicted, and we served him the notice, which he was proving stubborn, said he was going to get a lawyer to sue the owner of the property. But thank God that I had evidences, and in this age and time, thank God for mobile phone and for other electronic devices which you can actually use in recordings of this thing to tender as an evidence when you have any argument with your tenant or you're speaking with legal people, so that they can use as an evidence. So some of these tenants, some might just violate noise ordinances. Noise ordinances can range from increasing the volume of their TV, their sound system, or even generator. When you know as a tenant that your generator is bad, why don't you just repair it? And I advise these days that landlords should have a designated space within their compound, within their premise, where generator will actually be kept. You can't just allow people to litter the compound with generators anyhow. There must be a designated place within your compound where generators meant to be kept, and that's where everybody, because we know when you live in Nigeria or live in Lagos, Nigeria, having a generator, it's inevitable. Although I'm a preacher now, or I'm an advocate for solar and inverter now, that because with that you have no noise, you have less trouble, you have less stress. But I know it can be expensive, but I'm an advocate for solar and an inverter instead of generator that makes noise. If you do not have money for a silent cabin gen, I would advise that you go for solar or an inverter. So there are some tenants that are just impatient. They are just impatient. Impatient. Uh, there are some that they never learned how to live in the company of others as a result of their upbringing. So they are just too carefree, or they are, um how will I put it? They are kind of, they are, um, they feel irritated, you know, living among other people. I've seen some tenants like that. And when I actually later interacted with the woman and discovered that that was her first time of renting an apartment and living by herself. So she had been living in her father's house, and now she had to move out as a result of proximity to where she works. That as a result of that, she always causing trouble within the compound, failing, not knowing when to pay um, for utilities. And another thing is that this utility is one major issue with tenants. One major issue with tenants. Here in Lagos, if you live, maybe take for instance, you live in face me and face you, there will always be something that will bring you together. It will be utility. If you live in some kind of flats, you will have to pay utility. Even if you live within an estate, you have your own flat to yourself or your own duplex to yourself, there will still be utility bills that you need to pay. Common ones are maybe for security, general cleaning of a common area, disposal of waste. In some estates, you might need to pay even maybe for water. In some estates, you might need to pay for light, maybe, or for buying of diesel for a generator. So you should know that as a tenant, there will always be something that will bring you together to with other people. And with this, you need to know how to plan yourself so that you pay your utility as at when due. So as for landlords, there will always be some stubborn and wicked tenants to deal with, and dealing with them, it requires patience. Yes, it requires patience. It requires patience. You need to be patient. You need to be persistent, and you need to have strong communication skills. And by staying calm, professional, and focused on finding solutions, landlords and property managers can effectively manage difficult tenants and maintain positive relationship with these people. Um, in the course of my work as a property manager over the years, I did not just come into being a property manager, but I have a kind of an history and a long story towards that as a result of me um, before the passing of my grandmother, and she asked me to go and take one of the flats within the premise, and I to need to live there, and that was when I discovered that she, my mother, was actually a genius to be dealing with almost about I think 18 to 20 tenants in our house then in Lagos. And for me, living among them was like kind of, I'm a quiet person. I don't like trouble. I don't like stress. But I had to deal with issues because I'm the one they are seeing as a representative of my grandmother or as the so called landlord, okay, of the house. So I had to deal with a whole lot of issues. There was a lot of backlog of um, PACN NEPA bill that I met on ground, backlog of water rate bill, no individual issues among them, fight here and there because the building is both residential and commercial. So the issue with those who are doing commercial activities are different with those who are living that within the compound permanently. So and it has two divisions. There's a part which is more like a female official. There's a part which is a proper flat where I reside, but the two buildings were actually linked together. So I had to deal with so much, and I had to learn so much in dealing with people, in dealing with stubborn tenants, in living among people that are not of the same culture, of the same language, of the same mindset, or the same values with you. So from this, I learned a whole lot of lesson, and which actually has sharpened my skills as a property manager whom I've become today. And now I do my job with ease. There is nobody that I cannot actually deal with. There is nobody that I cannot. There is no amount of stress or fight you're bringing to me that I won't be able to curtail. So this is my own story as a property manager. So, reason why tenants can be difficult to deal with. As a landlord and a property manager, dealing with difficult tenants can be a challenging and frustrating experience. There are many reasons why tenants can be difficult to deal with, ranging from communication barriers to financial issues, personality clashes. Communication barriers, that is one, whereby maybe but I know in Lagos, if you can't speak Yoruba, you should be able to speak Pidgin or speak English. So, but some people they don't know how to express themselves. I've seen that in the course of my job as a property manager. There are loads and loads of people. Rather than for them to communicate quietly, gently, they will just flare up and start fighting. And there's some people they have at the back of their mind that you are just coming to attack them or you're coming to fight them. Before you even open your mouth to speak, they pounce on you and you just want to pick a fight. So there are a whole lot of people that do not know how to communicate. So as a property manager or a landlord, you might need to study the kind of tenants you have as a result of you having regular meetings, at least even if it's not every month, maybe just once in 3 months, you can have regular meetings with them. Okay, just chat up, discuss some of the issues within the compound, discuss some other things that has to do relating with bills, so that from there you'll be able to know their communication level. There are some that are very good, they know how to comport themselves, they know how to communicate. But for those who do not know how to communicate, I've seen there are some tenants when you knock on their door to ask for some bills, um, they just give you some weird look. Yes, and I've seen some tenants that even once you just send them messages or about it, they just have either they ask for the account number or do I bring cash. So that is that. So so that could be some of the reason why some tenants can be difficult. Communication barrier, financial issues. Um, I've dealt with some tenants who lost their job, and as a result of losing their jobs, they became difficult, irritable, because they do not know how to communicate what they were actually going through. So this result to not having to pay their rent as at when due, and until I kept pressing and pressing, and he came to meet me, and now opened up that, oh, this is what happened. He has been laid off from work. So I just told him that, oh, if this happened, why didn't you just communicate from the onset? And why do you allow your rent to drag on and you didn't communicate that you have actually been laid off? So, financial issue. So, personality clashes. I've actually discussed that we have different people, those who are sanguine, those who are melancholy, those who are phlegmatic, and so there are a whole lot of people, different people with their own issues. So you need to know what their issues are. So one of the primary reasons why tenant can be difficult to deal with due to communication barriers, some tenant may not speak the same language as you may have. They have limited English proficiency, making it difficult to communicate effectively. Others may be unresponsive and uncooperative. Another reason why tenant is financial issues. Some tenant may struggle to pay rent or may fall behind on payments, which can lead to tension and conflict. So to address this issue, it is essential to establish clear tenant payment policies and consequences for non-payment. So offer payment plans or other financial assistance if possible, and work with tenants to find solutions that meet their needs while also protecting your interests as a landlord or a property manager. So, um, and so as for personality clashes, so this also is significant factor in difficult tenant relation. Some tenants may be confrontational or aggressive, while others may be passive, aggressive, or manipulative. So to manage this situation, it is crucial to remain calm and professional. Set clear boundaries and expectations, and document any incident or issue that arises. So you need to document. I'm very, very keen on documentation. So when you, and another thing, um, you need to identify the root cause of tenant stubbornness. So identifying the root cause of tenant stubbornness is crucial when dealing with difficult tenants. So as a property owner or a real estate manager, it's essential to understand the underlying issue that may be causing your tenant's stubborn behavior. So one of the is breakdown in communication, which I've mentioned, the personality clashes, and also financial issue. So some of those strategies for to manage difficult tenants. Uh, so it's essential to take a proactive measure to prevent conflict. Yes, you need to take a proactive measure in there. One, clearly outline expectations. Outline your expectations. One of the primary causes of conflict between landlords and tenants is a lack of clear expectation. So to avoid this, it is crucial to provide your tenants with a clear understanding of what is expected of them as a renter. And this includes aligning the terms of the lease agreement, any rules for the property, and any expectation of for communication. Regular maintenance. Let them know about regular maintenance. Regular maintenance of property is essential to prevent conflict with tenants. When tenants move into property that is not well maintained, it can lead to frustration and complaint. Regular maintenance can help prevent issues from arising in the first place. So, as a landlord, please try to maintain your property on time. Maintain your property regularly. So, number three, effective communication. Effective communication is key to preventing conflict with tenant. You should be available to your tenant and respond to their concerns in a timely manner. Like I said, that I had one issue with some tenant which they called me a few days back concerning the plumbing issue within, and the following day I was there. And this shows that I'm responsive and I'm listening to the complaint, and I'm someone that feel their pulse and concern about them. So, and the issues have been rectified and they're living happy. So they won't be sad or they won't be complaining to pay their rent as at when due. Number four, screen tenants. Screen tenants is an essential part of preventing conflict. By thoroughly screening tenants before they move in, you can ensure that you are renting to responsible and reliable renters. So do your background check as a landlord, as a property manager before you bring in any tenant to your property. So do your background check properly so to avoid conflict. So set clear boundaries. Setting clear boundaries is important to prevent conflict with tenants. Make sure that you establish rules for the property and communicate this rule clearly to your tenant. This can help prevent misunderstandings and conflict. So, by taking these proactive measures, you can reduce the likelihood of conflict with your tenants. It is important to remember that conflict may still arise, but by being prepared and proactive, you can minimize their impact and resolve them quickly and efficiently. So, till I come your way next time, um, Tolulope Olamipo, and I'm your number one property manager here in Lagos, Nigeria. And if you need my service for your property to be managed, to your property to be maintained, for tenancy collection, I'll be glad to do it. My number is there on the screen. You can reach out to me anytime, and I'll be glad to be of service to you. Till I come your way next time, have a wonderful day.